Hello and welcome back. I know some of you are probably sleeping. It's okay, guys. Tinake, we are here because hey, ziningi indaba. There are many ndabas here about what is going on. Today we bring you Chauke versus Batohi. Very interesting battle.
I had no idea it's going down like this in the NP.
Very, very interesting battle.
Oh, I'm so shocked. Many of you might be asking yourselves, what has this got to do with the Senzo Meyiwa case?
Just wait and see.
Listen.
Wait.
Listen.
Maybe not today. Wait.
Yeah, maybe not today. But listen, you know, Advocate Andrew Chauke is the DPP for the South Gauteng High Court. He's been the DPP, I think, for over a decade now. So, remember that the Senzo Meyiwa case was supposed to be held there first in the South Gauteng High Court. Someone was supposed to approve it for it to go to trial first, but somehow it ended up going to the North Gauteng High Court, and it ended up going to the High Court in Pretoria instead. Right?
Yes.
So, for those who may be wondering, what has this got to do with Senzo's case? For now, for today's video, not much, but it's important that we cover everything regarding the NPA, especially the DPP of the South Gauteng High Court. That to me has always been very important. Yes.
We're not going to explain a lot today.
No.
Wait for us, and then until it makes sense.
It's sort of like an unpacking of very interesting events that I had no idea, by the way, that they were happening, because I become fully immersed in the Senzo Meyiwa trial. I do not check what's going on everywhere else. So now I have the opportunity to see what's going on everywhere else. And let me tell you, I had no idea. It was going down like this in the MPA. But let me share with you guys what's going on. So the bargaining council in Pretoria ordered the National Prosecuting Authority boss, Advocate Shamila Batohi, last week to pay an employee who was dismissed through witch hunt charges almost 1 million within 14 days. I looked at this headline, I was like, what is going on? Why would they order Shamila Batohi to pay this amount of money? What is going on? So it turns out Advocate Phumeza Fuchani, who was a chief public prosecutor in Johannesburg, was dismissed in February 2022 for allegedly posting hate speech messages on a WhatsApp group she created called the Johannesburg ESCO Group, which had NPA officials in Gauteng as members. So we're talking about all the members of the NPA that are in this WhatsApp that she created, and she called this WhatsApp group Johannesburg ESCO Group. So she was being accused of sending hate speech messages via this WhatsApp group. Okay, so this WhatsApp group had NPA officials of Gauteng as members. So this is another case of a work WhatsApp group gone wrong in the worst possible way. I, for one, have never believed in these WhatsApp groups, especially the work ones. But I felt like, you know what? This is very interesting that lawyers can also be in hot water for WhatsApp groups. So one of the alleged hate speech charges that Fuchani was dismissed for was warning one of her colleagues to be careful of snakes who are out to eat him. Be careful of snakes. They're going to get you. They're going to eat you. For sharing that on a WhatsApp group, it got her into serious hot water. So Fuchani, turns out, is the wife of Advocate Andrew Chauke, the NPA head in Johannesburg. And there was also a report that he had written to the Justice Minister Mdluli Kubai asking for protection from Shamila Batohi. So in this letter to Kubai, Chauke wrote that Batohi was trying to purge him from the NPA for political reasons in order to appease and satisfy a particular group within society. But I will report on this matter later. Right now, let's deal with Advocate Andrew Chauke's wife's matter, where she got paid 1 million rands.
So this particular individual is Andrew Chauke's wife?
Yes. So it turns out that she had a high position as well within Gauteng before she was dismissed, of course. But now I'm sure she's going to go back to work after winning her case. So she had a high up position in Johannesburg region as well. So, but her husband is higher up because he's the head of Johannesburg courts. So the bargaining council in Pretoria ruled that an IT expert confirmed that most of the messages that Fuchani posted in the were forwarded messages that were already in the public domain. So it turns out that this bargaining council could not find her guilty because she's not the one who texted these messages. She forwarded the messages from something apparently that was already in the public, and that's how she got to win her case. So she was literally dismissed or suspended for forwarding messages from a WhatsApp group. So the bargaining council ruled that although Fuchani's dismissal was substantively fair, it was procedurally unfair. So maybe they were supposed to have hearings, stages, warning, written warning, verbal warning, that kind of stuff. So this did not happen in this instance because of her forwarding those WhatsApp messages. Apparently she got fired for it or dismissed, and then she took the matter forward. So the chairperson of the disciplinary hearing refused to postpone her hearing as per her request, and also did not allow her to cross-examine witnesses. So the bargaining council ruled that the chairperson's actions amounted to procedural unfairness, and it tainted the substantive unfairness of the dismissal. So the bargaining council also found that Batohi simply dug out old allegations against Fuchani on which she was previously cleared by her predecessor, Advocate Sean Abrahams. So they continue to say that that is not permissible because it means an employer is free to charge an employee with allegations on which the employee was cleared years ago simply because an interest group had complained. So there are rumors, speculations, I don't know what to call it, of nepotism. A lot is going on. It's not just, it feels like this WhatsApp message case was just a tip of deeper concerns or deeper allegations that were against Ufuchani. And they said that they found this is unfair as it militates against the principle of fair labor practice between an employer and employee. And they also found that the argument of res judicata, legal precedent of a higher court, does not apply, but it does not mean that an employer is justified. If you disagree with your predecessor's approach in absence of new evidence to reinstitute the same charges. So the bargaining council's J.J. Samuel stated this in his ruling. The bargaining council ordered Batohi to pay Fuchani 999,999.96. So this is 4 cents short of a million. Kushoti 4 cents pela before it's 1 million rand.
Nice life problems. And who's paying? It's me and you.
It's a tax. I imagine she was dismissed. It's all her back pay.
The grass is paying. The grass is paying.
and culminating, it's her back pay that she was owed for being unfairly
So
dismissed.
two bulls are fighting. The society suffers.
Yes. So within 14 days that money needs to be paid, no later than the 4th of February 2025. So today is the 5th, 6th. As we speak, yes, she may have, we don't know if it's otherwise, but she may be sitting on 1 million rand from her previous back pay. So the NPA spokesperson, Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga,
Yes.
I always struggle to pronounce this name, Mhaga, yes, confirmed that they are aware of the award from the bargaining council. His words were that we only just received the arbitration decision which found her dismissal was substantively fair, but it involved an element of procedural unfairness on an aspect relating to cross-examination. So the NPA is exploring options in this regard. So this sounds like he's hinting that they will be appealing this decision, which will also cost more money. Who's paying for all this?
But then eventually you have to pay the person, right?
14 days they had to pay her. So the director of public prosecutions in Johannesburg, the husband now, Advocate Andrew Chauke, has pleaded with Justice Minister Mamuluku Kubai to protect him from his boss, Advocate Shamila Batohi, who wants to purge him for political reasons. So in a letter dated the 2nd of January, Chauke accuses the National Prosecuting Authority Chief Batohi of allowing some members of civil society to humiliate and embarrass him in front of his colleagues. He told the minister that Batohi must not be allowed to abuse her office for political reasons. It is quite clear that she acts to appease and satisfy particular groupings within society, Chauke wrote. He added that Batohi's plan is simply to purge him and to hang him to dry in the court of public opinion. I was like, "Haibo guys, kanti ninjani? Why ningang recommending le drama engaka enzakala at PA?" I'm like, what? I had no idea, and here we are, the court of public opinion, and we have no idea that kunje.
Dorcas, God bless you. Thank you for this super chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorcas. Thank you. May God continue to bless you.
Magwande. It's Jane.
So, NPA spokesperson Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga confirmed that Batohi is aware of Chauke's complaint but has not seen it. So, the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Shamila Batohi, has not seen the written complaint that said that the NDPP will not abuse the power conferred on an NDPP for any reason. In his letter, Chauke said that he had initially lodged the same complaint with former Justice Minister Thembisi Mlelane. Who remembers Thembisi Mlelane? Thembisi Mlelane was briefly the Minister of Justice. Yes. And what had happened was now they brought up VBS staff, and then the next thing she was deployed to another department. Where is she now? She has been reshuffled to another department. I just can't recall which department she has been deployed to. But yes, Thembisi Mlelane was very vocal and in defending herself. You know, there were investigations that were done with regards to how she purchased the coffee shop and the money and the VBS. And it was a lot, really. And she had a media conference. But one thing I admire about Thembisi Mlelane, hayo Thembisi Mlelane uyazikhulumela. I was not expecting her to fight like that for her name. She fought a good fight. The media was on her. Do you understand what I'm saying? And she conducted those interviews, and she always had everything to say. She had a comeback. She had a comeback for everything. So right now, as it stands, even I don't know whether she's guilty or innocent. I don't know. There hasn't been a court case or anything like that, but she has been reshuffled. She has not lost out on anything much. She's just been deployed. And there were also allegations that she was refusing to sign. Not really refusing to sign, but apparently Shamila Batohi was supposed to retire. She had reached her retirement age, and there's something that she needed to sign
I
for
remember.
Shamila Batohi to continue
Remember,
working.
we covered that story.
Yes, and she didn't want but Shamila Batohi to continue, apparently, allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because, these rumors,
Now, there was a story, I think she even talking about the age and all that.
Yes. And next thing you know, VBS, vroom, 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 coffee shop, naye busy, kuyaphithizela. She's been, Daily Maverick was on her.
My wildest guess then, if that is the case, if someone says that Batohi is allegedly appeasing the political people, who's he appeasing? Could it be ANC?
Yeah, kinda.
Obvious. This is not just something that is factual. I'm just saying. I'm thinking out loud, and I mean, as much as we would not like to believe it, I believe most positions are actually indebted to a ruling party at the time.
Yes.
And Batohi then comes from the legacy of ANC.
Yes.
Well, I'm not saying it's a fact, allegedly.
We're not sure, but yes, you need to be deployed. And within the ruling party itself, there are factions.
Yes. Yeah, someone's saying she's in a human settlement now.
She's in human settlement to Tembi Smilani now. Yes.
Thank you, Stembile, Kwanas and Dokas.
Thank you, guys. So Chauke explained that his complaint against Batohi arose from humiliation and embarrassment that he suffered during an NPA strategic session. So they had a strategic session, and that strategic session was held apparently last year in November. We were busy with the Senzo Meyiwa case. I mean, I was not paying attention to any of what the NPA is doing. But it seems like during this strategic session, a lot was going on. And during the event, a member of a civic organization. So during the event, apparently there was a member of a civic organization who made several proposals, one of which suggested that President Cyril Ramaphosa should suspend Andrew Chauke. So there was someone from a civil group who decided to burst out and say that Andrew Chauke needs to be suspended by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Who that person is not named or mentioned. However, it seems like, or it is a fact, because a letter has been written that Andrew Chauke was very offended by that. And he said that he felt humiliated, he felt embarrassed, and subjected to the indignity of his person in front of his colleagues and the invited civil society groups. So the NPA, and in particular the NDPP advocate Batohi, did not see anything wrong about this proposal and remained silent about it. So he's complaining that as this civil member was throwing those utterances at him, the NDPP just sat there and kept quiet.
What was the NDPP supposed to do in that regard?
I don't know.
I mean, some society person is saying, hey, I think you should be fired. What am I supposed to do as your boss?
Order, honorable members, order. Maybe that's what he wanted.
Wasn't that done? That's...
Order, honorable members.
It sounds to me like what he's saying is he was supposed to leap in his defense in a form of saying that will not happen, that stuff like that, give assurances and all that. I don't think it's something that you can weep about. And forgive me, I might be ruthless, I might be insensitive, but I don't think your boss is supposed to take a defense position if he doesn't want to. If they don't want to, there is nothing that is forcing or compelling them to actually take a certain position when someone is suggesting that you should be fired. I mean, the fact that they are quiet, they remain as neutral as they can. Remember, they are answerable also to that society. As much as they are your boss, this is a government institution that is answerable to both sides. So they remain neutral. I don't think that there was something malicious on that. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, Chauke also added that he felt that Batohi was abusing her power by bottling him into silence. He said that he's unable to counter this humiliation by media and civil society groups because of government media policy and protocols. This is interesting because I've always heard about how lawyers are not allowed to speak to the media, or, you know, it's a thing. They are calling it decorum or whatever, but it's very difficult for lawyers to express themselves on public platforms. So apparently here Chauke is saying that he's unable to respond or counter that humiliation that he felt is humiliation by people saying that, or a person standing up to him at that civil in a strategic planning meeting where someone was saying that he should be fired. So he feels like these media policy, government media policy and protocols that they've set up inhibits them as employees from speaking out or defending themselves. So NPA insiders with sympathy to Chauke claim that he is being hounded because he was once asked to put together a prosecuting team to deal with the Kato Murna police officer's case. He stepped on some powerful individual toes. Now, this is someone who is estranged or someone who knows Andrew Chauke on a professional level, but they refuse to disclose their name. Now, they are telling the media that he stepped on some powerful individuals' toes by accepting that assignment, which was given to him by his then bosses. The Sympathizer said they are calling this person the Sympathizer, and the other official says that Chauke was being punished for failing to prosecute crime intelligence boss Richard Mdluli for murder. But the last stroke was his withdrawal of the case against the ANC spokesperson and member of parliament Zizi Kodwa. So Chauke said he could not comment on letters leaked to the media. Mhaga couldn't confirm or deny that Batohi has sent a memorandum to Kubai recommending that Chauke must be suspended. So at this stage, we're sitting at a point where it is unknown whether Shamila Batohi has drafted the letter for Chauke to be suspended or not, because Mhaga, the spokesperson for the NPA, could not confirm or deny. All he had to say was that they can confirm that they have shared a memo, but they won't comment on its contents as this is an internal matter for now. And Kubai spokesperson Terence
How convenient,
Mnase,
though, to have someone leaping on his defense. And very interesting. I mean, we are talking about the case, things that are happening internally, and then there is someone, obviously, who's going to claim that is working inside and is defending him.
Yeah. He's a sympathizer. So, Kubai spokesperson Terence Mnase promised to respond to the questions, but missed the deadline that the Sunday World was publishing this. So, in 2021, 2021, the NPA boss, Shamila Batohi, was reported to be flexing her muscles around the time at the troubled institutions with new revelations on how she had decided to tackle the NPA South Gauteng boss, Andrew Chauke, for his alleged failure to prosecute prominent South Africans facing various serious criminal and political charges. Batohi, around April of 2021, apparently wrote a letter to Chauke and gave him until the end of May to explain why he had failed to prosecute matters involving former President Jacob Zuma's son, Duduzane, former crime intelligence boss Richard Mdluli, and former Gauteng Health MEC Brian Hlongwa.
Yeah. Now, you see, when you put those people, I think to me it sounds more like a faction fight. It is not something external or maybe from other parties. It's, for me, it feels like it's one party that is fighting each other, because you look at the group that is being now mentioned, that Batohi was looking for a persecution on them.
Yes.
It's what one would refer to as RT, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Once you hear Zuma, you feel like, okay,
yes,
they are talking RT, although it's not something that is spoken loudly. You just have to draw in between the lines, because I can remember the deceased, may he rest his soul, Pravin Gordhan. He was lashing out at some of the students who were saying, and he was talking of factions. Which faction are you? Which faction are you? And I'm like, okay, so this factionalism thing is within the ANC.
Yeah, it seems it's very important to maintain your position there. So it seems then by mentioning those people, there is a bit of I don't know whether there's a stick that is put on this to say you are an RT faction. That's how, to me, from hearing this, that Chauke might be viewed as a faction of RT who's refusing to prosecute his own people. That's how it feels like.
And it's very interesting because the case of Richard Mdluli, the judge who was sitting on that case was Judge Ratam Kgwatleng. And he actually, I think he produced a guilty verdict for Richard Mdluli, but then he appealed, and after his appeal, he was released.
Now you see, one thing touches the other, one thing eventually leads to another. Now, that's very weird.
It is, ne? So Richard Mdluli is the one. I think we even talked about it sometime last year before we.
Yeah, we did.
We were looking into the previous cases that Judge Ratam Kgwatleng had done before he actually sat on the Senzo
cases that were appealed.
And this one was the highlight for me because it was long, and not only was it a long trial, there was very much tension between the judge and Richard Mdluli. At some point, they exchanged words in the court. You know, it was very tense.
And you will never talk about that case, right? I've never heard him talking about that case.
It was tense. That's all I can say. That it was a very tense case. And Richard Mdluli was being accused of allegedly murdering the ex of his wife.
Yeah.
From way back in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. It was quite old. But then they had found evidence of some sort. Let me tell you, Judge Ratam Kgwatleng went through that trial. It took, I think, more than 5 years. And
would you say that evidence was substantial?
If the appeal, he won with the appeal and was released, I don't know.
It was.
I don't know.
It looks like it was a circumstantial
solid,
evidence
yes.
that we are dealing with right now.
Yes. Maybe we should give ourselves time and actually go through it now.
Yeah.
Bit by bit, detail by detail. But you guys will let us know if you are interested in us covering a piece, but because the trial was long.
Yeah.
It was long. So we want to see if the evidence was circumstantial.
Considering how old the incident happened, it couldn't have preserved a lot of evidence that would be factual evidence. That would be it will be based mostly on circumstantial evidence.
Yes. And people who purported to be witnesses. I think maybe that's what they relied on heavily. That's what I think. I'm not exactly sure. I still have to do my research.
It's worrying. It's worrying that and then he reappears after Senzo's case. After this case, then he appears again. He's here now. And funny enough, because...
we are all feeling like he's going to say guilty as well.
Yes,
on the sword.
funny enough
Regardless. That's what it feels like.
Because Chauke is this person who's looked at as a person who sort of was not eager to go with
636.
636.
He wasn't eager.
Mm.
He wasn't eager because there's nowhere where there's tracks of him having approved of it to go to trial. In fact, this you know, we'll talk about it next, I feel, because it's a whole rabbit hole on its own as to what has happened with regards to this trajectory of what has happened and what was happening, the tensions, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I feel like it's another rabbit hole that I'll cover next after this one. Because guys. So he didn't approve 636. There's no mention of him saying it's ready for trial. That's why it's not even at the South Gauteng High Court. It went to the Pretoria High Court instead, the North Gauteng High Court instead.
Where it was quickly approved.
Yes, very fast
by
another investigation team.
But we're still coming with that. Just hold on that. I think that is going to be a whole different rabbit hole. Maybe tomorrow, Emily.
I will try and put it together. Sure, but it's a lot. But I will try, guys. I will try to put it together because it's a mess. So, yeah. Now, also, not only is it Duduzane Zuma's case and Richard Mdluli's case and the Gauteng Health MEC Brian Hlongwa that he's being accused that he couldn't produce successful prosecutions. So now they just added on last year in 2024 Zizi Kodwa's case into that list, you know. And there was a decision coming from Advocate Andrew Chauke not to prosecute Zizi Kodwa. And this decision, weird enough, I found an article where he was being praised by some publications that despite the undue political pressure that he had, the Gauteng Director of Public Prosecutions, Andrew Chauke, refused to prosecute ex-Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Zizi Kodwa, who made representations. I mean, guys, it trended. We all saw it. We saw him go to court.
When did Zizi Kodwa start going to court? There was an incident with Zizi Kodwa that happened before this whole court thing started.
There was a recording of him. Was there?
Wasn't it?
There was a recording.
Where he was speaking against the current leadership
in the ruling party.
Yes.
It trended, that voice recording, and
then after that there were cases.
Then after that, I started hearing now that it started with the media first, and they were saying that he was accused of corruption, and there were like millions were unaccounted for and stuff through his company with his business partner. It started with a series of media, interviews, and then the next thing I heard that he is being arrested, and then he appeared at court. He made several appearances at court, and then the next thing it was dismissed. Was it a dismissal or what?
Yes, it is very weird and funny that it was a dismissal.
So, Andrew Chauke was hailed as an objective prosecutor for this. So the reason advocate Chauke apparently gave, the reason that he gave for not prosecuting Zikoto's case was that he felt that there was no case to prosecute and followed his conviction despite the noise in the public domain to nail the big fish for the so-called state capture crimes. So shade was thrown as well to Shamila Batohi in this particular article. They said that the NDPP, who's Shamila Batohi, who the media said appeared to be influenced by the state capture narrative. Sunday World in particular praised Chauke as a man of honor. They even pointed out that Shamila Batohi was left with egg in her face in cases involving ex-Eskom CEO Matsila Kuku and Duduzane Zuma and the Freed.
Was it Gauteng also that exonerated Matsila Kuku?
Yes. Shamila Batohi in particular. And so, Matsila Kuku's case was very intense as well. It was years and years, dragging years, and at the end there was not enough evidence to prosecute, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so indeed it feels like there's an NPA.
His daughter as well. It was a lot.
It does feel like there's an NPA 1 and NPA 2. As much as in within the ruling party there was RET,
like the same is happening, and then there was
but it seems as if and you feel that there is a feeling that you go to Pretoria from the certain faction, most probably you are most likely to lose a case maybe. And then you go to Gauteng, there are chances that you might actually succeed. That's how it feels like when I'm just watching from the distance. Gauteng then, not Gauteng is where you wanna be if you're from the different faction. That's how it feels like. I'm not saying it is like that, but I'm just looking at the events and how they're unfolding, and I'm making my own conclusion to say. Then from there, obviously, one bull is going to be feeling like I need to take this out because I'm in charge, and I need to have a harmony within the working environment. Then maybe such words as I need to be protected because Batohi is political.
And that's exactly what this piece was saying in the Sunday World. It was published on the 24th of November 2024, just as we were following the court proceedings there at the High Court in Pretoria. So they are saying that Duduzane Zuma and the Frieda Dairy Farm, as well as Matsila Kuku's cases, it's all because of politics that there's failure to prosecute in them. So Shamila Batohi wrote this letter after she had also suspended Advocate Andrew Chauke's wife from the NPA following allegations of nepotism, among others. We have just covered what had happened with Advocate Andrew Chauke's wife. Apparently it was because of a WhatsApp group. No other charges of nepotism or none whatsoever were added on to her case. It was just that of the WhatsApp message that she forwarded. So Batohi demanded to know why Chauke's office declined to prosecute Duduzane for culpable homicide after he slammed into a taxi with his Porsche in a crash that killed a woman and injured 3 others on the Greyston off-ramp in Sandton in 2014. Chauke's office referred the matter for a formal inquest instead of charging Duduzane with culpable homicide. Some portions of the letter read that the magistrate found that the death was prima facie caused by the negligence of Mr. Zuma. You declined to prosecute, which decision was overturned by then and DPP advocate Abrahams after receiving media queries and a request for a null prosecutor certificate from the family of the deceased. So Batohi said that although she had perused the presentation file at the NDTP, she wanted Chauke to send her a copy of his office file in which the records of the original decision not to prosecute Duduzane was recorded.
So we're now going through files, more like what kind of this supervision where you are being micromanaged.
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously the feeling would be that you are targeted. I mean, you might say, yeah. Chauke's point is actually a bit more clearer when you are saying now you are going to have to check everything that I do or I did. So they might have been a bit of that point. I might agree with Chauke a little bit on this one. You know, it feels like I'm so if I'm going to go back and maybe look at the mistakes that you could have made, or at the time I did not review a job. You are allowed as a manager to review my job at the time, but to backdate it feels now like that's witch hunt.
Looking for something.
Yeah, it does feel like that's witch hunt.
Yes. So she said although she was in possession of Chauke's report on Abrahams, it did not deal with the decision not to prosecute Duduzane. In his response, Chauke said after studying the case docket, he was satisfied that there were no reasonable prospects of successful prosecution in the matter and accordingly endorsed the decision taken by the subordinate not to prosecute Duduzane. He also said after Abrahams and then the then acting head of National Prosecution Services, Bongile Mzinyati, reviewed the decision and decided that Duduzane be tried for culpable homicide. Zuma's son was subsequently acquitted by the court. We can all remember that. Some people are still upset about it even today. Batohi is also questioning Chauke's decision not to charge Mdluli, an alleged Zuma ally, with murder. So according to Batohi, so here comes that factionalism we were talking about, an alleged Zuma ally.
Yes, that one last word is making it a bit awkward for you to actually look at this thing, and be unbiased. You know, so it feels like already you are taking a position of saying, I will follow everything that has to do with Zuma. Because you're even putting his name, even though you are dealing with an individual who is capable of doing things individually. So, and the case at hand was more about his alleged doing. Why do you need to bring a certain name, and put it together and correlate it to such an incident?
So, according to Batohi, from a reading of the documentation contained in the file, she said that she understands that Mdluli was arrested in the beginning of 2011, where after a decision was made to indict him and 3 others in the High Court for several charges, including murder, attempted murder, intimidation, and kidnapping. The trial would have commenced in April 2012, but following a representation, Andrew Chauke decided to withdraw the charges and a formal inquest was held. The failure of the NPA to prosecute Mdluli was successfully challenged by freedom under law. So Batohi also asked Chauke to explain why the prosecution of Hlongwa had been delayed as well. As the DPP for the area, he's responsible for ensuring speedy justice, read the letter. Abana speedy justice now is being mentioned here, but over there that court
it was not, that's and the speedy justice can at some point create injustices.
Yes.
You know, once someone talks about speedy justice, I get worried about that, because this is South Africa at the end of the day. I mean, speedy justice mean to me hush job, and we're talking about someone's life. You know, why are you in a hurry?
True. I also am not agreeing with the speedy justice it doesn't sound right. Sound like be fast.
Get it over and done.
So a report by the Special Investigations Unit SIU has revealed also, or at the time had revealed, details of alleged corruption and fraudulent dealings worth 1.2 billion rands in the Gauteng Health Department during Hlongwa's tenure. And Chauke told Batohi that a racketeering case against Hlongwa was close to finalization. So Chauke was among candidates interviewed in the 2018 by the panel set up by President Cyril Ramaphosa to shortlist suitable persons for the top NPA job, which ultimately went to Batohi. So Andrew Chauke had also been interviewed for this position that Batohi now has. So it was at this interview that the panel grilled Chauke on his 2014 decision to withdraw the murder and kidnapping charges against Mdluli in connection to the Opa Ramokhibe matter. A High Court judgment was read to Chauke, which found that he and his colleagues were obstructive and were not acting without fear or favor in the Mdluli matter. Mdluli and his co-accused Mtombeni Mtunzi were found guilty in 2019 by Judge Ratamkhwatleng for the 1998 kidnapping, assault and intimidation of Ramokhibe, who had married Mdluli's customary law wife Tsidi Buthelezi. Chauke, in his defense, said that after studying the Mdluli case dockets and the report of the prosecution team, he was satisfied with evidence regarding all the charges except for the murder and attempted murder. And he said that his decision was found to be rational by the Supreme Court of Appeal. So this is quite interesting because after Mdluli appealed in 2020, he was released.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
But now it also shows you the power of getting over the line. I put it like that because getting over the line, in my opinion, is when you just have to do what you have to do to put that person in jail. And then after that, what happens after that, it will not psychologically and to our eyes as society exonerate the person. The person physically, he might be out, but to us as society, we still feel that that person is a criminal and is guilty, and we condemn such. That is how I feel like, and that's perhaps if you look at this case and compare it with the current case of Senzo Meyiwa, that the feeling is such that the stigma and the people that probably believes that the 5 accused are indeed the people who did this, they will forever have a leg to stand on in terms of argument, as even though they go and appeal and win. And the other cases obviously will be closed.
Now I'm starting to see perhaps the reason why he was called out of his retirement for this particular Senzo case. I'm starting to get a vibe here that he guilty or not, it's his thing. Like that's what I'm getting a sense of, in my opinion.
It feels like he's not a fan of the other part. Maybe it does, but to me,
I haven't come
in my opinion, it feels like there's always a serious judgment against. So once you have that kind of then if you are fetched, then they know that someone has to go down.
And we are also getting a sense, we talk about the case, so we're allowed to have this opinion because we fully cover the case, right?
Yeah.
We are getting the sense that he overlooks everything else that may exonerate the accused. He will even assist the state. I mean, we've said it allegedly, but we've said it that sometimes we get this vibe from him that he's looking for something to get a guilty verdict at the end of the day. To just say,
and that's your opinion. It's an opinion on the basis of what you see in public.
Yes, on what I've been analyzing with the case.
We are not accusing him of anything, but we are saying the feeling
that we get
is like the car is in motion and there's nothing that can stop it. You know, that's a feeling that I get. I'm not saying that is the case, but the feeling is such that the car is in motion. If the car is in motion, no one can stop it.
So when you reflect, even with this Richard Mdluli case, I mean, I was like, okay, he was guilty because the verdict was guilty. But then after I heard that he appealed and he got released, I'm now like, okay. So now it also speaks to Andrew Chauke here back in 2012 when he could not prosecute Richard Mdluli. To him, he's saying that he didn't have enough evidence that proved the case of murder and attempted murder. And look at how he's been vilified for him. I mean, it even got him to lose out on this position of NDPP in 2018 during the interviews, because that was what was hammered against him. You understand? So I don't know now. Now I don't know. So Batohi is also demanded an explanation from Chauke for his decision to prosecute former KwaZulu-Natal boss Johan Boyson for racketeering and murder. Boyson, who was the face of the so-called Cato Manor Death Squad. We've talked also about this, the Cato Manor Death Squad, before in the past. Even Thabo Bester also mentioned that they are the ones who, according to him, forced him to admit to the first case of murder that he had back in 2011, where he was convicted and sent to Mangaung ultimately.
But just a pause there, I mean. You see some other things now, when you talk about them, they sort of give you a certain clues. I'm not gonna say much, but as far as the faction is concerned, if it was existing,
yes,
we had two factions. In our opinion,
yes.
Now a certain faction defends a certain person who is, according to Bester, the team could be a catalyst of his demise.
Yes.
What does that tell you? I mean, I want you to look at this, because when you are saying these things, you might say them like, but now here is Batohi saying, why did you do that to the certain person? What does it tell you? But it's fine. Don't say it. Don't say anything. I'm just thinking out loud. As far as Bester is concerned.
Well, you guys can remember him bringing up this Cato Manor killer squad while he was fighting for his laptop passionately. So you guys remember, right? He did bring it up.
The submissions, yes.
So this former KwaZulu-Natal Hawks boss, Johan Boyson, has now filed a 7 million rand lawsuit against the state for unlawful arrest and malicious prosecution.
And what? It's probably closer to getting paid than not getting paid.
Boyson said his sin was to freeze a 15 million rand payment by the SAPS to Durban businessman Toshan Pandey, former President Zuma's son. Edward's business partner. Kuningi.
See? Gain.
Hey, Kuningi.
Zuma's name is brought.
Chauke, in his response, denied that he was leading prosecutor in the Cato Manor matter and said that he was only requested by Nomgcobo Jiba to coordinate a team of prosecutors to prosecute the case. This after concerns were raised that prosecutors in KwaZulu-Natal were working closely with the accused. So Jiba and fellow senior prosecutor Lawrence Mkhwebi were fired by President Cyril Ramaphosa in 2019 following the findings of the commission inquiry into their fitness to hold office, chaired by the retired Constitutional Court Justice Yvonne Mokgoro. So the Mokgoro inquiry found that Jiba and Mkhwebi's decisions had brought the NPA into disrepute. NPA spokesperson Sipho Ngwenya said that he would not comment on individual confidential internal correspondence amongst officials. However, there are internal processes underway in the NPA to deal with various matters that have arisen over time, which may be in conflict with the values of organization, particularly with regards to issues of accountability and credibility. So the National Director of Public Prosecutions, NDPP, is keen to have officials who are implicated in one way or another in matters they may not be consistent or values with the values of the NPA. So the NPA policy and constitution to account. So this was during that era of the step aside rule, 2019. Do you guys still remember that? The step aside rule, it came and it came and it worked for some time until now it's no longer being talked about.
No, it's gone.
It's gone. But yeah, that rule was.
It dealt with a lot of people, eh? It dealt with a lot of people, but then it reached a point where it couldn't bite.
So yes, it was during that era. So these two prosecutors were unfortunately found guilty for putting the NPA in disrepute over such matters. So guys, this is the inner turmoils that have been happening, right? So tomorrow, I need to now tell you more about Andrew Chauke.
Yeah.
That's my assignment.
Yes.
Especially with regards to the Senzo Meyiwa case. That's my assignment. So for now, I wanted to tell you guys that there's beef in the NPA. Serious beef that you should probably pay attention to.
Yeah. No, guys, Asazike.
I think people are sleeping. Are people on the chat?
People are sleeping, yes.
People,
thank you.
are you on the chat?
And that would be fair to me because yeah, it's almost a couple of hours. But just to thank the few people that are here, Pamandla, siyabonga. Welagiti, siyabonga. Boto, thank you. Lebza, thank you. Stembile Mkwanaza, our member, thank you. Ausebe, thank you, Nzozi. Sandangola. Ngola, thank you. Messi number 2, thank you. Tuli Tools, our moderator, thank you. Withstand, thank you. Douglas Shabalala, thank you. Judith, thank you. And Mamfunega, thank you. Pedro, thank you. Douglas, thank you again for your generous gift. We appreciate you. Stembilem Kwana, I've mentioned you. Nanjelop, thank you. Just going down Songel and Lovo. Thank you. Ned, thank you, our moderator. Thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate you. And all of you are being appreciated. Dipuo, our member, we appreciate you very much also for contributing this much up to this point. Thank you. We appreciate that. And just going down towards this Lang, our moderator, thank you. Please press that like button, and just for reminding people to press that like button, thank you, Towards Lang. We appreciate you all the time. You are here reminding people, even you disturbing yourself with when it comes to listening, just so that you can type. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. We see that. Marcos Peterson, thank you. We appreciate you. Let's see who is here. Okay, I think I've mentioned everyone that I saw. If I jumped your name, I'm sorry. Lebs, I've mentioned you. I think no one is missing. Guys, press that like button. Remember, if you don't press that like button, then people wake up in the morning and they like, there's nothing that happened to Mzansi. Some of you are saying that there's an alert issue. You are not being alerted all the time when there's something happening anymore. Please renew in terms of the alerts. Try to redo it so that in terms of the alert, just press that alert button again, repress it again, and see if that would assist, because it does have the issue of forgetting. It has amnesia. So remind it that you are still existing and you are still a part and parcel of this channel. Siyabonga molweni, siyabonga mfowethu usithola nje siyophuma, and we hope that you remain and continue and finish the video. And remember, there are adverts, and please, those are things that are keeping us here and keeping the lights and everything that you hear here, other than the people that come and support, and we appreciate those people. But remember, we need to assist also, not just leave the burden to them. So as the members and the moderators and everyone else and the subscribers, thank you very much, guys. Please remember to subscribe. We forgot to say subscribe and be part of this, so that you can have this chance of having chat and people who give super chats. God bless you guys. Press that like button. It's 133 here. That 133 can be transferred to the likes. We have only 71. It's a bye from my side, guys. I appreciate you very much. Emily?
Good night, guys. See you tomorrow.
Yes.